Cleveland Clinic, Florida provides individualized treatment plans for excellent outcomes of health problems ranging from the most common to the most complex, even in cases considered untreatable by others. Cleveland Clinic, Florida. Every life deserves world-class care.
All right, let's do this thing. Welcome to the KVJ After the Show podcast. What's up, everybody?
What's up? What's up?
Yeah. Got a bunch of emails to jump on here today. Kim, for instance, sent one. She said, hey, I got a similar story to Jaybird and a story about his hamster that had the big old vagina, but then we found out it was a penis, and they gave birth to babies. And what? She said, I got a story similar. We had a dwarf rabbit and named her Christmas.
Aww.
We found out sometime later because her vajayjay was so big that she was actually a boy. So not a dumb story. Love you all and love Jaybird.
They were balls. They were not.
So hamster balls looks like a big old pussy.
Yeah, I think that's what it comes down to.
Weird.
We learn.
Okay. How about this story? It says, you're talking about the weight loss, that woman today on the show who lost 50 pounds in 2017, and her husband doesn't like her now, thinner, and says, you're not attractive to me, and it's affecting her marriage, and he wants her to put the weight back on. She's like, I work so hard, and I like my body, and I bought a bunch of new clothes. Different things do happen. You know, it's kind of weird because I guess weight loss isn't always a good thing. You know, maybe it's jealousy. Maybe people just don't like your new look, or you turn into a raging biatch. This email says our good friend lost 50 plus pounds. Then everything became about her. She became a Facebook and a Snapchat selfie monster.
Oh.
She stopped caring about her husband. She became this entitled bitch. She may have lost a significant amount of weight, but she is still a plus-size girl who thinks she's a Victoria's Secret model. There's nothing wrong with being plus size. We used to encourage her and congratulate her on her successes, but no more. We see the way she started treating and talking to her husband. We've been there since before her journey began and know what she was like pre-weight loss, and we do not like the person she has become. She used to be very much fun. Used to be so much fun. We used to have date nights together and even go to events together. She has such an in-your-face attitude that we don't care to hang out with her anymore. We still love her husband and their kids, so we tolerate her. Her husband has even told her she has become this self-centered, selfish bitch. If she knew she was going to turn into this monster, he would rather have her heavier. He misses his heavy wife. Personality just changed. And it's one of those things where, yeah, I think there are some people that, you know, they act in check in a relationship because, you know, you size yourself up with the person you're with. And some people do that and they're like going, oh, I'm so much better than him now. And then you start having this attitude about it.
Well, if you're both 7s and all of a sudden one becomes an 8 or a 9 and they're acting like that,
yeah,
you're going to notice that, you're going to see that, and that's going to rub you the wrong way. If you see the wife or the husband you've been with for that long,
yeah,
and now they're changing not only with their physical, but their personality is changing, I think that's where it gets a little like, oh, shit.
Dangerous if you're in a relationship and you got the attitude that I could do so much better than you. You know?
Well,
It
yeah.
is. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
You got to remember that you're in it together. It seems like some of these people get cute and then they're like, okay, it's just me, baby.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a team thing.
Nick in Alabama wrote in an email and brought up this good point. 38 minutes Saturday morning in Hawaii, people thought, oh my gosh, this is it. I'm going to die. So how many people started telling off their bosses and significant others and confessing, be like going, baby, I've been cheating on you. I'm sorry. I just wanted to get that off my chest before we go.
Do you think there was a lot of that?
The stories we haven't even begun to hear yet. I'm sure that we'll start hearing them. I heard a couple yesterday that I was like, oh my gosh.
Like what?
This dad was talking about what it was like to take his kids under the stairs of their house and explaining to them what was going on. And the little girl was like, Daddy, are we at war? And he's like, yeah, I guess we are. And she was like, Daddy, why did we have war? Why can't we just have love?
Oh my
and he's like
gosh.
crying
Oh my
under the stairs,
gosh.
waiting for the bomb to take them all out.
I mean, what
Unbelievable.
the shit?
What the shit? And just to think that the guy that pressed the wrong button has been reassigned. No, we got to fire this guy and we got to make a statement that this can never happen again. You need all other guys in charge of that button to live in fear.
I mean, I'm just picturing myself at 7 years of age, and I was kind of I was scared of a lot of shit. To go through that and for it to really be going down, I I think you're scarred for life,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I think you battle back, but I think you're just a little bit more squirrely than the average person at that point.
You are absolutely going to be on the range. Some people are going to be downright squirrely for life. Some people are going to battle back. I mean, it's all about your psyche. And just that happened for so long to so
Right.
many people is just, come on.
I want-
We've got to do something different here, people.
I wonder if anybody had an Ebenezer Scrooge moment where I'm going to do it different now. We're going to live.
I bet you they
I'm going to be a
did.
better person.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Not only did they have that little blunder, but back in July, there was an article they were doing. Remember when all this stuff first started happening with Kim Jong-un and he's saying, oh, I'll be able to wipe out Hawaii and all this kind of
Yeah.
stuff? Well, they wound up doing this article and they went to the place where they, do the readings where this whole faux pas happened, where they sent out the alert. It's the Hawaii Emergency Management Agency. In July of 2017, just last year, the Boston Herald went there to talk about the incoming threats, say how legit was it. And he snapped all these photos of them in front of their alert computers and all that kind of stuff, the stuff that controls sending out the EAS alerts. But the guy forgot and left at the bottom of all of the monitors the passwords for all the programs.
They're written on sticky notes,
Yeah.
and they're just stuck to the computer, and it says password, and then the password.
Warning point 2.
And you can
Yeah.
see it in the picture that they took while they were doing this story about these clowns.
They got the biggest-
Really?
Yeah, so they get just guys that are just like, dude.
Can we tighten up a little bit, please?
These
Yeah.
are the guys that are in charge of the Hawaii Emergency Management operations. These are the guys.
Yeah. The current operations officer, Jeffrey Wong, is the one that is in the photo. I don't know if he's the one that got reassigned after the thing went out, but
I don't know if it was Wong, but if it was Wong, they need to get rid of Wong. They need to make a statement. They need to take this a little more seriously than just reassigning the person that made the mistake.
Wong ain't white. I'll tell you that.
That's right.
Ugh. I feel so bad for the people of Hawaii that went through that.
Oh, my gosh.
We need to know this is never going to happen again. Whatever they have to do.
Yeah.
There was apparently like code that had to be written to stop the
Yeah, they had to wake somebody up
warning.
and say, hey, you got to write a code to shut this off.
Guys.
Because, like, Hawaii's freaking out. We just sent out a legit message that they're about to be bombed.
Can you ever think of another false alarm like this where it was such, I don't think there is.
I can't think of one.
To where you think a missile is going to destroy and kill you? Because, I don't think you're going to survive that, right? They're saying get on the ground, but what the hell is that going to do?
And it seems so legit because all over the TV, it's been nothing but pictures of this Kim Jong guy, like just talking about how he could come annihilate us.
Oh,
and-
isn't that his nickname, Missile Man?
Rocket Man.
Rocket Man? Yeah.
Trump was calling him. Yeah.
No,
Missile Man.
Doesn't have the same ring.
Not the same.
Yeah. Crazy.
I don't know. It just seems like I don't know. Shouldn't there be more outrage?
I have so many dreams about that. That's one of my worst night terrors is going out. I hear a bunch of people screaming and there are missiles flying in the air. And then all of a sudden you look up and there's people just coming down from helicopters and we are full on in it. I always have that night terror, man. So sorry.
That sounds awful.
Sorry for that confession. You mean to shut down the room and make it so awkward.
Nick also says that there's also one resolution Jaybird didn't get made for him. What about finishing projects that he started? He still owes us his Denny's cribs and burpees, ringtones. The list goes on and on.
I know. I'm over here doing nothing. Mm-hmm. I don't know what to tell you. I got a busy schedule.
Yes. Let me see. Also got an email about the divorce attorney that we had on yesterday. The emailer says, as someone that is going through that process after a 20-plus year marriage, she's right on. It is devastating emotionally and financially. One amazing resource is Divorce Care. It is a 12-week Christian-based program that uses a combination of video learning, then group discussion. They touch on different topics weekly, like facing anger, depression, loneliness, financial survival, and even forgiveness. It's only $15 for a 12-week course. If you go on the website, you can find a local church where it's being presented. And the one thing that really struck me was, in my opinion, this course should be mandatory for engaged couples before they marry. Yeah, there's a lot of churches I know that do have that kind of stuff where they put you through couples counseling before getting married so they can, they can identify, and they sometimes walk away from that saying, you guys shouldn't get married.
Right.
I just let you know, like, it's not going to work. So we definitely don't recommend this. So good point there. Got some emails. Some people brushing back, saying, I hope you'll take the time to read this breakdown of the Aziz Ansari situation. I love listening to you guys, but was really disappointed this morning at your take on it. We were talking about the Ashley Banfield audio where she was calling out Aziz's accuser and saying, hey, what was happening to you wasn't a hashtag #MeToo situation. It was something that you could have gotten yourself out of.
What are they disappointed in? I mean, there's a lot of people who've shared the same opinion.
Victim blaming.
No one's victim blaming.
Ambiguity to try and defend him from what he did. Somebody wrote, the point where Ansari should have stopped was this, when Ansari told her he was going to grab a condom within minutes of their first kiss. Grace voiced her hesitation explicitly. I said something like, whoa, let's relax for a second. Let's chill. This is it. She said no.
She said, let's chill, and then they did chill, and then they got back into it. Read the whole story.
This is not rocket science. When someone says, whoa, let's relax for a sec, let's chill, when you say you want to grab a condom so you can fuck him, your response must be, I totally understand. What would you prefer? Not what he did, which was to pretend it didn't happen.
No one's saying he didn't act like in a piggy way. He definitely acted like a piggy person.
He said something along the lines of, how about you hop up and take a seat? Within moments, he was kissing her. In a second, his hand was on my breast. Then he was undressing her. Then he undressed himself. She remembers feeling uncomfortable at how quickly things escalated. When Ansari told her he was going to grab a condom within minutes of their first kiss, she said, well, let's relax for a second, let's chill. She says he then resumed kissing her, briefly performed oral sex on her, and asked her to do the same thing to him. She did, but not for long. It was really quick. Everything was pretty much touched and done within 10 minutes of hooking up, except for actual sex. And then they go on to say, what part of, whoa, let's relax, let's chill, means continue with trying to kiss someone. So that's it, saying that the way that this is being taken, the comments and what Ashley Banfield said is then turning around and blaming the victim for this. It says, this is unbelievable. He keeps repeatedly stopping her from physically leaving. He keeps trying to make her grab his dick. He keeps forcing his fingers into her mouth. At what point does he not get that she doesn't want this? That there is no reciprocation.
There's going to be different of opinions on that. The whole story's got a lot more details in it.
Says when
I think there was reciprocation.
There was.
though. That's the thing.
There was reciprocation.
Mm-hmm. It says when she says she gave out verbal and nonverbal cues and then explains how she did it, I got it 100%, and so did basically everyone else. He's the exact part where she explains this, and if you're into healthy relationships and consensual sexual encounters, you get it. Yeah, so anyway, that's kind of the gist of what they're saying, is that she sent enough clues there that she was not cool with the sexual acts that happened, and he kept pushing and pressing the issue and putting her into a situation that she did not want to be in. So it does qualify, I believe, is what they're saying here in a very lengthy article, which goes on for about 3 more pages. So anyway, I know some people did feel that way with it, and I think, it's a big, tough situation to try to figure out. I think that, everybody needs to take pause to recognize when somebody is shutting down sexual acts and not push it forward. But at the same time, I think people on the other side of it are scared, saying, okay, well, how am I going to read that? Maybe I didn't pick up on this. Maybe in their heart they feel that way, but they don't verbalize it, don't say it. And I continue on not realizing that they're so appalled by my behavior and repulsed by me. So I have a feeling this isn't going to be the last story we're going to have on this.
What's your opinion as a woman, Virginia?
I don't know. I mean, the story that I read was like, she said something about him. He should have seen my nonverbal clues. And then she talks about how she gave him a blowjob. And then I'm like, okay, well, that's kind of weird. If I'm in a scenario like that and I don't want to be in it, I'm definitely not putting somebody's penis in my mouth. Not willingly anyway. I mean, I know there's cases where, you're being raped and that's part of it, but it sounds like she went along with it. Then they watched TV and then they went back at it again. And then it sounds like there was plenty of time for her to leave.
That's what Ashley Banfield was kind of, talking about, saying the fact that she was still there afterwards, kind of acting like things were cool after something that happened that repulsed you so much that you want to write this story about how uncool it was, decided to, stick around. If something happened that was that uncool to you, Ashley Banfield's point was, get the hell out of there. So there you go. But yeah, the conversation that happened today, and I don't know if it was us or Ashley Banfield, some people felt that, there was some victim blaming that was happening on our conversation that happened earlier.
No.
Well, we just don't think that she's a victim.
That's
all.
just it.
I mean, there's a difference between a victim that's a real victim and a person that maybe wasn't happy with the way that things turned out. Aziz sounds like he was just there for the sex, and he was making it clear to her that he was just there for the sex, and maybe she wanted a relationship with him, and then when she realized that wasn't going to happen, she got upset.
Somebody said, thank you for making me feel worse about my rape and not being able to get out of the situation. Victim blaming is part of the problem. It's one of the texts that had come in today.
We're not talking about rape here. We're talking about a girl that was willingly in a situation and didn't leave and didn't ask him to stop. I think she willingly put her mouth on his penis from her own admission.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't about victim blaming. We just, from those details, and it's the details of one part of the party, we didn't think that those sounded like, the other stuff we're hearing. That's I don't know.
Yeah, that was kind of it, is just saying, okay, what is going to be the separation of, and I think that's where Ashley Banfield was trying to lay some perimeters and saying, look, when you're raped, when you're drugged, when you're coerced, when there's physical issues, when even there's job or career issues where you're coerced against your will to have sex, that is what she's saying is the hashtag Me Too. If you have a situation where you have a guy that's just persistent and keeps coming after you for sex, and you stick around that environment and get into a situation you don't like, that's where you need to remove yourself from that situation and say, look, I'm not going to stick around for this.
And this is why people are afraid to talk about this stuff, because just because we had a different opinion about this situation, people are saying that we are now
victim shaming,
and
which we're not.
And we're siding with rapists, and that's a terrible thing to say about somebody. I don't know your personal situation who's ever calling us that, and if something terrible happened to you, I feel terrible that's what happened, and I am so sorry for that.
But to say that we made your rape worse, that's pretty intense.
Because
so thanks for that.
That's not what this is about.
No,
we heard those details, and we don't agree that that's part of what the hashtag Me Too movement. But just because we have a different opinion of it, I'm not trying to make your situation with whatever happened to you any less, because that's personal, and I understand that. We all want bad people punished. We don't want that. We're not trying to victim shame anybody. But if you have an opinion or if you ask questions, why are you now just as guilty as the people committing rape and crimes? You're not allowed to have another opinion, and now you're in this bubble of being a monster? Well, that's not cool. That's going to scare people away from wanting to talk about it and wanting to go forward and make progress. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think what it is just trying to figure out what the actual definition is, and you're right, relationships moving on.
There's always going to be all this confusion and gray area, because it's a he said, she said. And a lot of times, especially on these dates like this, there's alcohol. Everybody's fuzzy. She's saying that she didn't want it. He obviously didn't pick up on those clues. It's mixed signals when you sit there and you continue to hang out and you watch a TV show and then you engage in sexual activity again and then you keep it going. Like, you may have just made a poor choice by sticking around.
Yeah, Ashley Banfield and her, when she was going after this accuser, was saying, look, I mean, you're in a sense slashing and burning his career and his reputation, and it sounds like...
Well, you're lumping him in with the Harvey Weinsteins,
right, yeah.
And he is not the same.
She's saying, I mean, if you were against this is a situation where you should have removed yourself. Somebody else texted in this morning and said, well, I was drugged and unconscious, so I didn't say no. Does that mean that my hashtag Me Too doesn't count?
Absolutely not. That is the epitome of hashtag Me Too.
I'm not even going to acknowledge that with the response because whoever wrote that is just so not getting the point. You and I maybe just can't connect verbally.
Well, and they might be talking about one caller that we had on today saying that...
of course, if you were drugged and raped, you are absolutely in the hashtag Me Too
And if you
thing.
really think we don't
She might have been
that.
referring to one of the calls that we had on today. One of the calls, there were some people that were like, this woman is, like maybe she was doing a lot of the victim blame, but I think that they were upset that we even had her on.
But I kind of resent the people saying that we're siding with rapists. That's a terrible thing to say about somebody.
It's awful.
And I don't appreciate that.
And it's
'Cause
ruining.
that's not what I'm saying.
It's ruining what this thing is about.
That's
Let's
not
be
what I'm
clear
saying.
of what this whole movement is about. Hashtag Me Too is about sexual assault. It's about taking advantage of young innocent girls. It's about taking advantage of someone and raping someone. It's about a bunch of things that are very violent and awful, and it's not about a date where you the next day thought that, oh, it went a little bit too far. I shouldn't have done that. In the moment, I don't think this girl made the right choices. And then afterwards, to try to lump Aziz into the same pile as Harvey is not the same.
Well, just because you have that opinion, you shouldn't be now. Oh, you're victim shaming. That's not how that should work.
Yeah, that's kind of the flip is like, and just so you know, like everybody who talks about this, if, there are situations, and what the one article that I read yesterday that was kind of going after this accuser saying, look, rape, sexual assault, all these kind of things are different categories, and that was just the same thing, saying they can't all be in the same one. We can't make them all the same.
No.
So we need to make sure that we
can't.
define them all differently and that we put them in the appropriate folder. And you're right, Aziz belongs in a folder, but it's not the same one that Harvey Weinstein is in. And they go on to say it's so sad how women are tearing each other down with this movement. So,
well, I mean, I want the movement to work, but if you even say anything,
and they said yes, I was referring to that caller, the person that texted in. So that one was about the caller who did ruffle some feathers. She was a woman that was kind of going after some of the other women in the movement, saying that they're making this, a little bit ridiculous.
But you're not even allowed to have an opinion if you even say anything. You're now a bad person, and you want a victim shame. That is so not what that's about. You got to be able to have an opinion about any kind of movement. If not, then it can get out of control.
Mm-hmm. And she said, just the fact if you've ever been raped or coerced into sex, that it puts you in a different category and you won't be on the same page. It's the text that just came out about that. So, yeah, those are some of the comments. It is definitely one of the hottest topics that is happening in our society today. And something that, I think is still going to have to continue on because it's an important movement. And there's a lot of things that need to be corrected. But you're going to see it wobble on both sides where you're going to have to say, okay, wait a minute. Yeah, let's keep the focus on, what is really bad. And, yeah, there's some other things where when it comes to dating and how people get into sexual situations, probably needs to be handled differently.
Sure. It sounds like he was a little aggressive, and it sounds like she should have got up and said, no, this is not for me. I think they both made mistakes
both
that
did.
night. Is that hashtag Me Too? In my opinion, which I'm entitled to, I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
I think hashtag Me Too should be reserved for these predatorial sexual abusers. It should be reserved for these guys that use their positions of power to take advantage of women. It should be reserved for the rapists. It should be reserved for the people that went after children, like the guy that came after Elijah Dushku. Let's be very clear not to mess this up for the real victims.
And just because someone's got a different opinion, don't label them as a rape victim shamer. That's a harsh thing to say to somebody.
Or say that I'm minimizing your rape.
That's a character assassination, in my opinion, and that is not cool.
I would never minimize anybody's rape. And just to say that is just throwing fuel on a fire.
Well, those are the kind of things that happen that does make, the dialogue happen today. And I'm sure people do, genuinely feel like that. But then you're right. Then you get into situations where you feel like, okay, I'm not trying to blame anybody. I'm just trying to
No.
define this. And I'm trying to also, for myself, for my children, for everyone else, sort out, say, hey, look, here's the processes on how you have to do this.
Yeah, I hear you.
There are still plenty of people in Hollywood right now, and this is kind of a quiet murmur that I've heard that's happening. There are real, horrible sexual predators
yeah.
still in Hollywood. They're nervous right now because they know that everybody's starting to talk and tell stories. Let's get those stories out
Keep
about
that
these
focus, yeah.
real predators, these child rapists, these men, these awful piggy people. Let's keep it focused on that, not on the douchebags that may have pushed it a little too far on a date. And it's different. I'm not saying Aziz is perfect. I'm saying he was douchey.
Totally.
But he's not #MeToo.
Yeah. Well, the discussion will continue. A lot of people are talking about this, so do appreciate all the comments. You can send them to us, 877-979-WRMF, 877-979-9763. One text says, can I just say one thing? I have a regretful night there. I slept with somebody who I shouldn't have. I'm not a #MeToo. I'm a person who has a regret of a person who I slept with.
I've had that too.
I have too. And it's been situations where I can remember the guy was like, come on, come on, come on. And I was like, I don't know. I don't think it's the right thing. And you hold out and you hold out. And then you're just like, oh, all right. Or you just kind of go along with whatever is happening in the moment. I didn't get up. I didn't walk out. I didn't stand up and say stop and leave. That's the difference. I made a bad choice in that moment. I chose to go with the flow of an aggressive dude in the bedroom.
Yep.
And I shouldn't have because I know better. But in the moment, I did. It's on me. It's on him. It's both of us.
And there are two lessons. One, guys, be respectful. If a woman even starts to hint at hesitation, don't force her into something she doesn't want to do. You don't want it that way anyway.
Right.
And two, for women, be also very forceful as well. And there does get to a point, without a doubt, where physically you can't leave or they, drug your drink or something like that. And that is not your fault. But if you have the opportunity to get up, storm out, walk out and be like, I said no, and then get out. Get out.
With me, I know probably a lot of women share this same thing. Especially when I was younger, I was like, oh, well, maybe I should just, stay. And just, even though I don't want to let it progress sexually, maybe he'll like me more if I do. Maybe, he'll think I'm a cooler chick and we can have a relationship if I do. And your head goes that way. And so you stick around and you engage in the sexual activity. And then you feel bad the next day. I've been there. I know that feeling. But it's not #MeToo.
So, appreciate all your comments on that. Thank you very much. Let's see other stuff we got going on here.
Are we changing gears here?
Please do, because I'm just not into this anymore. Now it feels like a witch hunt for anybody who wants to say anything about the whole thing. I'm done with this.
And you are a witch, so it kind of is a weird place for you to be in.
Normally, I love a good witch hunt.
Last week, y'all were talking about the lack of singer-songwriters in today's music. I'd argue that there are some talented singer-songwriters on the radio today. People like Shawn Mendes, Ed Sheeran, Charlie Puth, and Bruno Mars. What I don't hear are female singer-songwriters. Aside from Taylor Swift, who seems to have lost her guitar, I don't hear many women expressing themselves musically. I miss the Lilith Fair days of the 90s when we had women like Sheryl Crow, Sarah McLachlan, Jewel, and Melissa Etheridge writing and performing their own songs. The last mainstream female I can remember like that is Michelle Branch or Sarah Bareilles. Can you prove me wrong? And I'm talking about writing their own songs, not just the lyrics.
No, it's a good point, for sure. They definitely do exist.
Is Pink, is she just writing the lyrics? How involved is she with her songwriting?
She's involved.
Yeah, I think she is involved.
She's a straight up songwriter.
Okay. So you put Pink into the category. But, I mean, it is, a trait that you're seeing less and less of, I think, probably. And it might go, in flows, ebbs and flows of things. It's kind of weird because, like, the EDM DJs there for a while, they kind of became the producers and they find someone to sing on their songs. And then that's, music's kind of gotten in that rut. Music gets into ruts. And it gets into a groove, and then everything sounds exactly the same for a while. And then some artist comes along, and you're like, oh, my gosh, that's groundbreaking. And then it changes again. So it'd be nice, to encourage and to see a little bit more of that. Let me see. Rachel sent an email. She said, my gosh, does Suits even sleep? The guy does mornings, weekends, and now nights. I know he's young, but what the heck?
It's good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is good for him. We did it. He can do it.
He needs to be out there. He needs to be doing his thing.
Get out there and work while you're young. Make that little name for yourself, Suits.
Yeah. Well, to give you a little secret, just to let you know, you are able to record shows,
Don't tell people
voice
that.
track.
People don't know that. People actually do know that.
Yeah.
So many people know that.
The computer runs it.
Yeah, radio thinks they're so slick. Like, people don't know what the hell's going on. People know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, weekends and a lot of times even at nights now. You know, when I first got into radio, there was always somebody live in the studio that was, picking the music, and we would play CDs and stuff like that. And now it's a computer that runs it. And when they came up with the computers that have all your commercials and your songs on it, they started having where you could record your voice, and then you can just link it up in between those songs and everything, so it plays everything for you. So, when we get out of here, I'll sit down for, I don't know, it takes maybe anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour or something like that. You can record the entire 3 or 4 hour show. So that's how it's done. A lot. Morning shows are live still pretty much, but a lot of the other shifts on radio are not. So pre-recorded. So where it goes. Let me see here. Got an email talking about some Facebook phishing. Somebody said, oh my gosh, Facebook has me dying over here. Thought you guys might like this for the After the Show podcast. This dude named Antonio posted this up on Facebook. It says, this dumb bitch called me and asked me if I could give her $350 to help with her rent. I told her that I'd call her right back. So I called her homegirl, and I told her that, hey, homegirl was talking about her, and then I told her homegirl that she asked me for $350 for her rent. Well, her homegirl said, don't give it to her. She's a liar. She's trying to use that money to get her baby daddy out of jail because she'd been crying about she wanted to be under the same roof with him. Okay then, bitch. So I called my homie and I told him I needed $350 in counterfeit money. After I got the money from my homie, I called her and I told her to meet me to get the money. A couple hours later, I got a call from the county jail and it was her. She gonna ask me, why did I give her counterfeit money? I told that bitch, I heard you was crying about you wanted to be under the same roof as your baby daddy, so there you go. Boom shakalaka.
Oh, man. Hit him with the catchphrase at the end. Oh, man. That's good.
Boom shakalaka.
Boom shakalaka.
Yeah.
She gave the police counterfeit money.
Yeah. To bail out her baby daddy and wound up in jail herself.
There was a couple threads. I was working on something for work, and then I caught the thread. I got really caught up in it. Then it detoured me from work, and it was really good. I mean, they were calling each other motherfuckers and talking about who's got this STD and who's got that STD.
Oh no!
Oh, it was good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was from Port St. Lucie.
Oh yeah.
Pizzle.
They have some of the best Facebook phishing, man.
Some good stuff comes from the pizzle.
Uh-huh. Let me see. Got this email from Tanya. Said, hey, I've been listening to the show since I was 12. Now I'm at a bar with some friends in Long Beach, drinking a cherry vanilla Coke with rum malt beer. Wondering how Kevin would feel about the taste. I don't know. It sounds pretty busy. Definitely try it, though. Tanya grew up in Wellington, graduated from UCF last May. Now I'm working in advertising in L.A. Thanks for being a huge part of my upbringing. So cool. Glad you took us out to Cali with you. Very cool. Long Beach, yeah. I've been there. Used to party there a little bit back in the day. I was on Long Beach. I remember I went through my first earthquake on Long Beach.
Ooh.
Yeah. It was crazy. I was out there for spring break. I was in college. Down on the beach. We were just like chilling out. We went back up to the apartment where we were staying. Crap is all over the floor and the counter, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, we've been drinking pretty hard for the last couple of days, but when I gone out to the beach, it didn't look like that. I'm like, what'd you all do? They're like, we had an earthquake. I'm like, no, you did not. I'm like, they're messing with me.
They took everything off the shelves.
Everybody still, this is the era where everybody fucked with Kevin because I was from a small town and like never seen the world, and they're like, oh, no, we had an earthquake. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm not that dumb.
No, we really did.
And I'm like, going, I would have felt it. They're like, you're on the beach. You don't feel an earthquake on the beach. I'm like, bullshit. I'm like, going, it's the earth. If anybody would feel an earthquake, you'd feel it on the sand, on the beach. And they turned on the TV, and sure enough, they're like, going, LA's just been hit with, it was the Northridge quake or whatever. Happened in like 94.
So is that the safest place to be if you have an earthquake on the beach?
Except for that whole tsunami thing, but yeah.
Yeah. If you can climb pretty quick.
If you see a really epic wave coming your way, run.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, I learned that 10 years later. But yeah, no, I didn't realize that. But yeah, when you're on, they call it, the shifting sands. The sand, totally, I was down there just laying, I didn't feel a thing.
Because the sand moves
The
into
sand
the
moves
gaps.
with the earth as it shakes, or either that, I was just that hungover. I don't know, and completely oblivious. But I mean, it was shook up pretty good. Like majority of the dishes had fallen out and were on the floor. Pictures were off the wall.
Wow.
TV was over, laying on the ground.
Wow.
I mean, it was a pretty solid little shake. And I was like, how about that? So, yeah. And then for a second there, too, I'm like going, how'd you guys fake that TV thing?
You guys broke the TV? I mean, you're really committed to this
No,
dang
I mean the news report.
Oh, you thought they faked the news
I thought
report?
they were so damn involved. I'm sitting there for a second, like going, okay, because I'm like going, I'm like, because everybody's always giving me a hard time for how naive I was. I'm like, going, how did they fake the TV thing? It took me a while. I don't think I fully believed it until I got back to Ohio. They were talking about it there. I'm like, all right, I guess it happened. Let me see here. Got a photo of Kevin in Lake Worth. Oh, there you go. That's an action shot right there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I love when people spy on us and snap that random photo we don't know.
I know.
Yeah.
It's almost a back of the head photo, which I love.
Yeah. That's at that bar CWS on Saturday. I told you guys there in Lake Worth.
You didn't know they took the photo?
No. I said when we took pictures of you and randomly pissed off some millennial hipsters. I'm not sure if they said hey. I don't think I said hey to them. You should say hey to me
That's
as well.
so awesome just to think that you never know.
Oh, always, dude. I always.
Random paparazzi are watching you. That's awesome.
I've been burned pretty bad.
Yeah. We were hanging out there after we went to Matthews. But you can see that's the place I was telling you about. Look at how intricate some
That
of the
is
stuff
cool.
is. I really like that place. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's really cool. They do the craft cocktails in there, and they have really good beer selection. And so that's my kind of place. I love Lake Worth too, man.
I
Lake
do
Worth
too.
is
I
just
really
so-
love it.
It's fun. It's down to earth.
It's
Yeah.
It's got
artsy.
character.
It does.
It's got flavor.
Yep.
Yeah.
Chill, awesome. So, yeah, cool little place. And Teresa, too, said, hey, I've been listening since day one, and I recently moved to North Chesterfield, Virginia, just outside of Richmond. Please add me to the KVJ Nation listener map.
Oh, we will miss you.
There you go. Yeah, cool things. You can listen anywhere, anytime. Doesn't matter. So check it out. And if you are listening from anywhere outside of South Florida, let us know. Just go on ahead and send us an email, mail@kvjshow.com. We'll add you to the map. Alrighty, y'all. That is it for us for Tuesday. Have an amazing day. We will talk to y'all later. Goodbye.
Cleveland Clinic, Florida provides individualized treatment plans for excellent outcomes of health problems, ranging from the most common to the most complex, even in cases considered untreatable by others. Cleveland Clinic, Florida. Every life deserves world-class care.